Howdy folks, today's a bit of a do-over. A few weeks ago I tested out a new fuel and it was the Fire Dragon eco-friendly fuel cubes. And I'm gonna be honest, it was an epic fail on my part. Not one of my proudest moments. If you haven't seen the video yet, I'll leave a link. Take a look at it. You can laugh at my my blunders, and obviously you'll know what went wrong because you're gonna watch today ahead of time. So, round two, we're gonna try out the new Fire Dragon Stove. I specifically bought this new ultralight, ultra-portable stove that was designed specifically for the Fire Dragon fuel. The beauty of this little stove is it actually has a built-in little canister there that's gonna hold the fuel and keep it from leaking or dripping while it's burning. Keeps it a lot safer and a lot more contained. So in order to test out the stove, I thought we'd try another meal in a bag. And this one's gonna be a little bit different. So just a quick rundown of what we're making today. We've got fresh mushrooms, cherry tomatoes, the dried tortellini, dehydrated okra, and far more Parmesan than any one person should eat in one sitting. And yes, we're gonna use a lot of it. So the fuel cubes are pretty basic. Just a simple ethanol fuel gel. Comes out in a little brick. And it slips right down inside that little holder there, which is going to keep everything from leaking out. And the mistake I made last time too is the stove is a little crooked, so we're going to make sure it's as even as we can get it. I've got it on some rocks just to add a little bit of stability. The ground's pretty soft here. We're going to light things up and see how it goes. Right off the bat, you can see the fuel ignites really quickly. Not sure if the camera's picking it up or not, but there is a lot of gunfire in the background. We're out here on Department of Natural Resources land, which means it's open to the public, and there are certain areas that are designated as safe for open range fire. A few miles to the west of us, there's a nice rock quarry where folks come to shoot their weapons, and it's amazing how it's echoing through the canyon here. So I promise I'm not being shot at, and I hope it's not too much of an interruption in the video. I didn't think we'd be able to hear it all the way down here at the river. As that water's coming up to temperature, we're going to toss our tortellini in and let it start rehydrating. So that's something I didn't expect. Our first gel cube has burnt through. It only burnt for about 10 minutes, and it didn't bring the water up to a full boil. The noodles are sitting there and they're steaming away, and they're going to be just fine. But it's really interesting. As it burned out, it actually left behind quite a film. And I'm not actually sure what it is, but it's this strange, almost plasticky material that didn't ever quite burn. And this must be what they used to help solidify the gel. But it shouldn't leave this much of a residue. Okay, well, while we're waiting for the noodles to boil, let's prepare our veggies. All we're gonna do is a very quick chop up on the mushrooms. We don't want them too small, so we want to keep some of the texture and have them soak up some of the butter that we're gonna cook them in. And the tomatoes are gonna be the same story. We're gonna just cut these in half, and that'll be good. All right, well, looks like that second fuel cube did the trick. Our tortellini's come to a boil, so we're gonna transfer it into the bag and then toss the pot back on the stove. So we're going to seal up the bag, set the tortellini aside to let it finish cooking. Then we're going to add in our secret ingredient. And this is some nice grass-fed butter. All we're going to do is melt that butter down, do a quick saute of the vegetables, and then toss it all into the tortellini. You can see we're using our snap fold bowl again. This is proving to be an amazing addition to my kit. Weighs virtually nothing, and it's amazingly versatile. I'm going to give these veggies just a real quick saute, fully incorporate that butter. Then we'll pull them off the heat so they don't overcook and so we don't lose some of that amazing buttery deliciousness. If you haven't seen this bowl in the past, this is the Fossil brand Snap Fold Bowl. It is an amazing little tool. All you do is you pull the pieces together, they snap right into place, and you got a fancy bowl. Simple as that. When you're done with it, you unsnap it, flatten it out, wipe it off, toss it in your pack, and you're good for the day. I stepped away from the campsite that we're using because we're going to drain the water from our bowl. And you never want to pour your food anywhere near a water source or where you're camping. One reason, you don't want to attract any animals. And the other reason, you don't want to cause any harmful environmental impact by leaving your waste behind. So the best way to do it is to scatter the water. That way it doesn't huddle up in one specific area. We're going to use this nestle of trees because I know it's going to soak right up in this dry ground. Okay, let's eat. Okay, so here's where things get fun. We're going to transfer the tortellini and the okra into our bowl. And as always, I cooked far more than I should. That'll be our snack for later. And then we're going to put in a whole bunch of Parmesan cheese. And finally, we add in our browned butter. We're going to top it off with our veggies. And just for a little added spice, we're going to throw in some red pepper flakes. Well, some final thoughts before we sit down and enjoy this amazing meal. As far as the Fire Dragon stove goes, I think that was a fantastic addition. It's got this nice little windshield that's built in and you can remove or add as needed. Weighs virtually nothing. The fuel gel on the other side, I'm not completely sold on those. On the second cube, I ran into the same problem. It didn't fully burn through and it left that plasticky residue behind. That's going to be product that you have to pack out with you, and it's just kind of a waste. So for now, I think I'm going to stick to my solid tablets and maybe the traditional firebox. Not to mention my BRS. That thing just doesn't seem to fail me. But until next time, folks, I hope to see you out there on the trail. Let's go for a walk. Maybe have some lunch.